Oh, okay. This is a very general topic, and it's the first unit of Block 1, personality. Uh, no, it all talks about what is the definition of personality, uh, what are the factors that one considered to define a personality, how is a personality developed, and all those. So, very generic, topic that goes on in our daily life. Some observations that we make around, or that we have experienced from childhood or something. That's all is there in this topic. Okay. Now, usually personality is understood in terms of social attractiveness. So when we tell social attractiveness, it's like who are presentable, who have good physique, who are, to an extent, how they talk, how they interact, how they converse, are they empathetic, are they extroverts. So on based on these factors, on a colloquial level, this is how we discuss and decide that he or she has a good personality or not. However, it is not just the social attractiveness. Defining personality, there are two things to be considered. One is the individuality, another one is the consistency. So individuality is, though every most of us have some common things. Every or a group of people will have some common factors, say punctuality, or taste for food, or us, for example, we have MAPC in common. When we talk about personality, we all talk, we all interact, we are kind of sociable. So this is one common factor. So like that, however, though we have many factors in common, individuality is how you choose to depict it. Even though you are extrovert, you can choose to be silent and not interact in the class or something like that. So what is your take on a particular quality? Consistency is how have you maintained that over years, have you developed it, or are you do you depict or express the same expression of quality every time in every situation? So how consistent are you in giving out a personality trait or expressing yourself, a quality of personality? So individuality and consistency are the two factors that we need to consider while describing one's personality, or to conclude that this person is of this personality. We must he or she must exhibit a uniqueness of one quality, and it must be consistent. So these are the two things. Going further, Alport. So this personality is dynamic. When I tell dynamic, it is developed over years. Though a person, say for example, is very cheerful or very aggressive, like this, it is developed over years. A cheerful person is not all of a sudden born cheerful or innately cheerful. So he or she has learned it. He is exposed to such environments, given chances to express, explore, and all that. So over time, a person becomes cheerful. Later, the person might choose to stay away from the group, socially isolate, and move towards spirituality, individuality, like aham brahmasmi, something of that kind. So it is one's own choice. So personality is dynamic, it is subjected to change, it is developed over period, it vanishes over period, it is subjected to situations, it has many factors to consider. So personality, when you define personality, though we take consistency as one of the factor, it is dynamic, it keeps changing. Even though in spite of the change, are those qualities consistent, is what we look for. Alport in the year 1937 and 61, defines personality as, okay, I don't think this is worth sharing. I don't even look at it. Okay. uh, Alport defines personality as dynamic organization within the person of psychophysical system that determine the unique adjustment to one's environment. So psychophysical systems, psycho okay, psychophysical. To an extent, your physical form, your body also matters while describing a personality. That also influences your personality. So, psychophysical systems that determine the unique adjustment. You remember individuality, unique adjustments to one's environment. So, a personality is a combination of many things. It's dynamic. As part of the definition, you need to learn four keywords. The keywords are dynamic organization, psychophysical systems, unique adjustment, one's environment. Four things. So it's a dynamic organization within the person of psychophysical systems that determine the unique adjustments to one's environment. So this is the definition of personality. Moving further, uh, you know, Alport, to come up with this definition, it seems he made 50 odd definitions, and this was the final one. So before making these definitions, he tried out many things. So this definition holds so much importance because it was a final end product of 50 definitions. Going further, uh, there are two important factors that you need to consider uh, uh, while defining a personality also, or usually socially this is how it's considered. One is the character and the temperament. Now, what is the character? Character refers to the value judgments which are made about a person's moral values or ethical behavior. So when you say this person has a good character, you're evaluating that person based on some morality factor, some ethical factor. So it has something to do with social acceptance and something like that. So character is more of morality and ethical factor. When I say temperament, temperament is the inborn enduring characteristic. Say for example, adaptability, irritability. So it has more to do with your innate quality that you're born with. Some person easily gets irritated, easily gets aggressive. Some person easily laughs for every small simple joke. So these are temperaments that are innate. So these are the distinct understanding. For understanding the term personality, these are the two keywords that you need to consider: character and temperament. Personality does not is not defined only by these two terms, character and temperament. However, character and temperament are the major factors to define personality. So this is part of the introduction, definition, the concept of personality and other things. Moving further, personality development. Now, this entire chapter, this is the only thing: personality development. In psychology, in general, for say anything that's related to personality, behavior, any major disease, also depression, suicide, anything in psychology, anything for that matter, actually in the entire world, anything can be defined with three things: the cause or the development. Biological, psychological, social. Other words, biological, psychological, environmental. Biopsychosocial. So if you keep this one thing in mind, you can actually attribute or find reasons or causes for anything. For anything, biopsychosocial, very important. Anything, at least in psychology, anything can be defined or attributed to these three factors: biopsychosocial. Now, personality, we are talking about personality development. So as I said, personality is a dynamic process. It keeps changing. You develop it over a period of time. So childhood, adolescence, to an extent early adulthood is till there. you develop a personality, and then there is scope for consistency. Till then your personality might have ups and downs, that we have studied and understood in lifespan development. However, coming back to biological factors, uh, there are 5 things under biological factors. So it is body build, physical attractiveness, homeostasis, physical defects, and health conditions. B, HP, HP for our easy understanding. B is body build. One H is homeostasis. Another one P is physical attractiveness. Another H is health conditions. Another P is physical defects. B, H, P, H, P. B, H, P, H, P. So these are the 5 things. Coming to biological factors, sorry, the first body build. Body build is your first appearance from far, first physical appearance, body build, literal terms. So there are 3 types of body builds. Okay. Yeah, 3 types of body builds: ectomorph, endomorph, mesomorph. Ectomorph, ecto, tall and thin. Ecto, it comes TT. So ectomorphs are tall and thin people. Endomorphs are round and soft, round and soft. Endomorphs are round and soft. Mesomorphs are strong and muscular. So ecto, tall and thin. That's how you relate. Opposite is endomorph, soft and round. And mesomorph are strong and muscular. Why do we consider body builds as a factor of personality, influencer of personality? Usually the one who are more muscular and strong have more confidence that they can do anything. They have better, endomorphs are superior to ectomorphs, and ectomorphs are superior to endomorph. So the hierarchy is mesomorph, ectomorph, and endomorph. Why do they do this hierarchy? Because mesomorphs are, as I said, strong and muscular, and ectomorphs are tall and thin. So because of their physique, they have better speed, better endurance, and better agility. Agility is the quickness, quickness to agility in learning, agility in teaching. So there are, agility is that grasping power. No, that is agility. Endurance and speed. Because of their body type, they feel more confident than the things. So personality has a major, body type, the body appearance, the body build has major influence on personality. Next, physical attractiveness. Physical attractiveness, generally, you take our Indian films or any uh, art or art form, or even in general, we would always want to see pretty good looking people around as heroes and heroines, protagonists and all that. I mean, protagonist is the wrong word to use. Hero, and as the term hero and heroine, we always want that physically attractive people. And it's just a small additional information. uh, Natya Shastra is a book. It's an encyclopedia for Indian dramaturgy. So any dance, drama, any expressive or performing art form, look up to this book called Natya Shastra's encyclopedia. Even there, he tells the hero should be the best among all the other male characters, and the heroine should be the best among all other characters. So does it have shuffled answer? I said Indian dramaturgy. Okay. Uh, fine. Coming back, perhaps don't distract me now. I kind of forgot what I have to tell now. So Bharata says hero and heroine have to be the best. I mean, in terms of appearance, they have to be the best. there are instances where in school also a pretty friend or a handsome or a cool cute people get away with the punishment, whereas other people slightly who are not so great looking kind of end up getting punishment. So physical attractiveness, nowadays the things are changing, however not everyone perceives it the same, but majority of people still look physical attractiveness as one of the major factors to define personality. So if you are presentable, or at least say physical attractiveness also includes your dressing style, how you carry yourself and all that. It starts from childhood also. If you're a cute child from beginning, then you might have ended up in favorable situations of getting away with things easily and not with punishments or something like that. So next is homeostasis. Homeostasis is stable internal environment, your internal body environment. How well balanced are your uh, uh, you know the five elements, or the vata, pitta, kapha, all that. How balanced are they within your body? If they are balanced, then your hormones are balanced, your body build is balanced, your temperament is balanced, so everything is balanced. The best way for us to understand is, some of us women go through PMS when we have menstrual cycles, so we have our mood swings and other things, also because we have hormonal changes. During adolescent time also, boys, they are either they turn up very aggressive, or they turn up caring. So hormonal imbalance, everything, any small change in your body, inside your body, also affects your personality, is what they're trying to tell. uh, Then we have, see, any, no, going further and explaining, if there are imbalances, say, in the fluids of your body, and you end up getting diarrhea, or indigestion, insomnia, you don't get good sleep, then it affects your moods, it affects your next day working, because you have diarrhea, you can't perform something well. You're you're in a low state of mind, or quite depressed, not that energetic. So this is what they're trying to tell. Your blood sugar level, they have given a list of things: normal temperature, blood sugar level, blood pressure, water balance. All these are things internally. Homeostasis, it has to be balanced. Next, going further, physical defects. According to this book, obesity is a major physical defect found in the world. So most of the people who are obese lack self-confidence, or they are being teased, and it largely influences their self-concept. So all these are interconnected. One leads to the other. Because they don't have homeostasis, they end up being obese. Or say, if not every kid is matured enough to treat the other kid with physical defect with compassion and affection. If the kids end up teasing the person who has polio attack, who has some accident, who has fractured their hand and come to school, who has had a major cut here, or no hair, blind or deaf, something like that, if they wear a not hearing machine or something like that. So all these physical effects play a major role. It's more likely that they have low self-esteem, because they are not normal, they have some defect in them. So it's important uh, for us to teach the kids to treat everyone normally, irrespective of the defects or size, shape, and everything. So that is with physical defects. And next, health conditions. Health condition is they're not just talking about some disease, but they are telling again this all these HP factors are interconnected, because only if you have homeostasis can you be physically fit, can you have a good body build, and your health conditions will be better. And because and these are the biological factors that one consider to define a personality. So coming back to health conditions, diabetes, asthma, wheezing, uh, so definitely this will have a hit on your personality at some point of your life. So if someone observes you taking at least in the early childhood, I wouldn't say childhood, not just early childhood. If there are kids nowadays who are born with diabetes. So diabetes, after getting diabetes, it has something to do with sugar. But it's not just because you eat more sugar, because you consume more sugar, you get diabetes. It is the ability of your pancreas to produce insulin within your body. So if your pancreas is unable to produce insulin, then you get diabetes. So this is just one example I'm giving. So any health conditions, any serious health conditions over a long run especially has effect on your personality. You might be extrovert, but again there is some you know it, because of this I'm not able to do something. So we'll come back to I'll come back to this in the psychological factors. So when we have the menstrual cycles also, that is also a health condition. It's a prolonged thing, so that happens to every woman. So we go through ups and downs and everything. So it is usually said that women are prone to be angry or get easily irritated when they have periods. So I haven't, maybe yes. uh, I do get it sometimes. So that's with the biological things. 5 things: body build, physical attractiveness, homeostasis, physical defects, and health conditions. So all these are interconnected, and they affect your personality, especially in the childhood, thus leading you to develop a kind of personality over years. Going further, we have psychological factors. Now, psychological factors, there are again uh, 5 things: intellectual determinants, emotional determinants, self disclosure, aspiration and achievement, and goal. Aspiration, achievement, and goal are interconnected. You can consider them as one. So 4 actually: intellectual, emotional, self disclosure, aspiration, achievement, and goal. Okay. So coming to intellectual factors. Uh, Usually bright men and women are generally, they're introspective, they're thoughtful, they're creative, they're adventurous, and they have strong concern and unique ways of solving problems. They come up with many multiple ways of solving problems. Their approach is different. So because of their uniqueness and their extrovert, not I wouldn't say extrovert, I might be wrong. I tell all bright people are extroverts. However, there is a trend, usually some of the bright people are extroverts. So it's a combination again, you see. So intellectually, there are many people who fall in love for others just because of their thinking, or they are intelligent or something. Not everyone loves for physical attractiveness, at least nowadays. So this is one point. So bright people are more attractive. Again, see, they're attractive not because of the physical appearance, they are attractive because of the intellectual ability. So on the other side, if the person is in the extreme, say gifted intellectual ability, or on the below average intellectual ability, there you have a problem. There it affects the personality. Let's take the first one, gifted intellectual ability. You would have seen in many movies, you have read novels, or you would have at least observed people who are very intellectual, who score every they're very creative, they are very productive in terms of their thinking, they very well know what they are doing, what they need to do, where will they be, and all that. They usually isolate themselves. They are they behave abnormally, or they like to be alone, something like that, or because they are in the extremes, and if we take the school setting, because they always score well and other things, the normal gang would not like to include that person as friend, because they have some jealousy factor associated, that yeah, okay, that person always scores high, he doesn't help us. That person might not be he or she might not be intended in not helping this gang, but that person wants to be alone or something like that. So that abnormality reflects on their personality, reflects on their self-concept, self-esteem, and that's how their personality is kind of screwed up, not socially acceptable, not a good personality according to the society. However, in the other extreme also, because they might not be able to understand few concepts, their logical thinking might not be working properly, or they might have some the connections in the brain might be missed or something. So because of n number of reasons, they also have and they are also teased, they are also kept away, the parents keep them away. Even if they include them, they would include them in the same gang of same say a below average student might be put in the same below average section only, or groups which include those kind of people only. So and under the extremes, your personality is again affected. So here we are not trying to explain what influences what personality, or what is what personality. We are just trying to understand what are the causes, or how a personality development is analyzed or studied, or what are the factors, how what are the factors that influence the personality. So this is what we are trying to discuss, and not how it influences, okay, not exactly how it influences. So going further, we have emotional determinants. In emotional determinants, there are many terminologies which sound alike, but as a what is this? You're playing host. As a if you observe carefully, each terminology is different. I'll read out the terminologies: emotions, emotional balance, emotional deprivation, emotional expression, emotional catharsis, emotional stress. These are the 6-7 terms. Okay, now all these are very different, however they sound alike. Emotions, emotional balance. Emotional balance is, see, it's kind of hard for me to define that also, when everything is put together. However, emotional deprivation is you are not experiencing one emotion properly, or say love deprivation is one of the emotional deprivations. I don't say aggression. See, again, there are positive and negative emotions. So, which, if negative emotion is deprived, it results in favorable conditions. That means you have a good personality. If the positive emotions are deprived, that means it results in unfavorable conditions. So that means you are most likely to fall on the uh, unacceptable personality zone. So emotional expression, so any positive emotions when expressed in the extreme are not judged, are perceived favorably. However, negative emotions like aggression, irritation, jealousy, when expressed in the extreme extent, they are perceived to be a negative influencer on personality. So it all depends on the positive and negative emotions. pleasant, unpleasant, and what dominates what. If the positive emotion dominates the negative, or the negative emotion dominates the positive. So if you name a person aggressive, that means the positive emotions are submissive and the negative emotions are dominant. So the extent of emotions, the quality of I wouldn't say quality, the extent of emotions is the ratio of emotions is what needs to be considered while describing a personality. Emotional catharsis might be a new word. So what is emotional catharsis? Is a release of unexpressed emotions. Say for example, you are irritated towards someone for a long time. So one fine day you burst out your anger or your irritation in terms of aggression on someone. So that is emotional catharsis. Or you are very you're a follower of say some film star or some celebrity for a long time. You don't have a chance, but you're a very genuine follower. You are very happy, you are positively influenced by what she or he does or something. So one fine day you meet them. That moment, that whole meeting is emotional catharsis. You're so happy, you might jump, you might hug, some go kissing and all that. They get autograph here, tattoo here, they ask for wishes, and something like that. So that emotional catharsis, what it is, release of unexpressed emotions over a long time, that is emotional catharsis, is a psychoanalytic theory, the discharge of previously repressed affects. Yeah. So that immediate discharge of something suppressed over a long time is emotional catharsis. We use this word catharsis in visual communication also. It was a cathartic experience. When we watch a performance or a movie or something, we tell it cathartic experience, because it that rasa that you feel, or that expression or that emotion that has touched you, and some of us cry in some at the end of the movie climax, like Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum and all. I'm sure most of us might have cried or something. So those are cathartic expressions. So release of repressed or unexpressed emotions for a long time. So that is with emotional determinants. So that is done. And also, while taking emotions into consideration, there are three things that you take into account. One is the extent of emotion. Second one is the duration of the emotion expressed. Third one is the age group of the person who is expressing the emotion. Why? Because extent of emotion, we all know, I just spoke. Duration, if a person is just happy or angry at one particular situation, then you will not consider that as personality. You will name it as mood or feelings for that particular situation only. However, if a similar expression is prolonged, say if I am aggressive because of some incident for a prolonged time, for months, weeks, and if I continue to be make that as my trait, then that is unfavorable. That ends up in a negative personality type. That is not acceptable. And the age of the person also. Usually, see, extremes. The children who express aggression are looked upon cute. The very aged people who express aggression are these things are ignored. If you express aggression in say in the adolescent age, or middle adulthood, late adulthood, in society or someone, and if it is consistent, the duration, then these are highlighted, the extremes are left out. So the age, the extent, and the duration, these are the three things you need to consider in terms of emotions while defining, or while taking the emotional aspect into account while defining or concluding a personality type. So that was emotions, emotional determinants. Going further, there is self-disclosure. Before self-disclosure, there's one more section by the heading excessive love and affection. That can also be considered for emotional determinants. You can club this and write. This just says, you know, anything in excess, even the positive emotions when experienced and expressed in excess is not good. If you are happy for a long time, then your happiness will not have a value. If you are angry over a long time, it might have it affected others, but it is ignored. It's like dina sayar galor yaru, something like that. If you keep on crying daily, no one pays attention to you. If you cry once in a while, they'll come and empathize and sympathize and do all that. So it's anything in excess is dangerous. Excessive love and affection. So if a child is very cared, very comforted in the early stages, then the child ends up losing its track, being very dependent. That being very dependent is also not accepted in the society, so that also leaves a bad impact on your personality type. So anything excess is bad. Going further, self disclosure. So when you have to self disclosure is how you express, how you depict yourself, how open are you, or what is your social part. If I am Soundarya, Soundarya as an individual is different. Soundarya in the society is different. How I portray myself in the society is different. So I choose what qualities I want to portray. So this self-disclosure is a very subjective choice. There are, self-esteem, self-awareness. These are the terms that you need to consider while writing about this. So anxiety, any form of anxiety, frustration, jealousy, or envy affects the personality development. Any emotional stress affect. If you are emotionally balanced, and you might be in a mood to depict yourself happy. If you if you had a bad day, you might choose to be silent. So again, this has to be consistent. If it is not consistent, then it is named as mood. If it is consistent, then it is taken as a personality thing. So how do you portray yourself in a society is what you need to consider. Then aspiration, achievement, and goal. These are the three subheadings they have given in the textbook. However, these are interconnected. I will club them and tell you. Aspiration means you're longing for and striving for something higher than one's present status. So your that intention or thinking for you to reach a better status is aspiration. The end result is the achievement. Achievement uh, can be, achievement is a positive thing, failure is a negative. It is a, aspiration might end up in two results. One is achievement, one is failure. Achievement is positive, failure is negative. Again, there are many kinds of aspirations. One is positive aspiration, that gives you the result of success. The another one is negative aspiration. Now negative aspiration is not one which gives the failure, but negative aspiration is the one which avoids the failure. So be very careful. Negative aspiration is the one which avoids the failure and not leads to the failure. So you might try something and fail, that's okay. That you'll be satisfied that you tried something, or you could not compete well, that's okay. But negative aspiration is to avoid the failure. I don't want to fail in the exam, is inevitably I want to pass in the exam. It's just like a reverse psychology thing. However, negative aspiration is to avoid the failure. Then there is realistic aspiration. Realistic aspiration is, I will go for trekking in Himalaya is unrealistic aspiration. Okay, I will go for trekking in Shivgange is a realistic aspiration. So that is which is doable. and not over expecting or over anticipating or overestimating something is realistic. Unrealistic is beyond one capacity is unrealistic. Then there is remote aspiration, which means to achieve a goal in the remote future, in the near future, or in your immediate environment or something like that. Then there is immediate aspiration. uh, Both remote and immediate also go in hand to hand. I think in remote they are referring to the environment, and immediate they are referring to the time factor. So there are 6 types of aspirations: positive, negative, realistic, unrealistic, remote, immediate. There are 6 types of aspiration. There is one more aspect that we need to consider: the level of aspiration. The level, when we talk about level of aspiration, we talk about the discrepancy, or the gap between the realistic aspiration, something which is doable, and something that you have set. What you have set and what you do, is there a discrepancy? If there is a discrepancy, then your level of aspiration is uh, low, or I think, or very high. Yeah, if the level of aspiration is very high, that leads to unrealistic aspirations, which mostly ends up giving unfavorable results, because of which your self-esteem and self-concept may be affected, because of which you will your personality is affected. You choose to express something, you choose not to express something. So these are interconnected. So level of aspiration uh, is very important. Then we have achievement. Now in achievement, there are two things: there is objective achievement and subjective achievement. Objective achievement is uh, when you compare your success or failure with others, peers, other people. Subjective achievement is when you compare with your aspiration, with your own aspiration, what you level of aspiration. If you're not comparing it with others, but you're just comparing with, I set this, I was able to achieve this, I was not able to achieve this, hence this is the achievement or failure. So objective achievement, subjective achievement, 2 types of achievements. So most people who achieve have more self-confidence, self-esteem, because of which they try to be happier, keep their environment also jovial, and all this. Speaking of which, if kids have extra achievement, or if they have achievement in the early ages, that will also affect the personality. You have achieved so much in your young age that you kind of feel you're lost in the later stages of life. So when actually when the common group of the world is achieving something, you are kind of lost. So then you feel isolated, and your personality types are you fall into a different personality type. That is one thing. And extra achievement also, you have achieved so much that everything seems meaningless, or because you have achieved so much, people might choose to express jealousy, envy, resentment, all these negative emotions towards you, so you want to stay away. So these big so any extra achievement or early achievement, these also impact your personality type. uh, that's all. And repeated failure also. A person failing one time may take that as motivation, twice, thrice motivation. But if you're failing multiple times, then you lose the interest. Your self confidence is gone, because of which you stay silent. You want to behave like an introvert, something like that. So any extreme is not favorable in terms of society, and it's not accepted. So that is thing. So in psychological factors, we have four: the intellectual factors, the emotional factors, uh, the self disclosure, and the achievement, aspiration, achievement, and goal. Aspiration, achievement, and goal, write it as one. Self disclosure, emotional, intellectual, the three. So we're done with psychological factors. The last factor, environmental factor. Now in environmental factor, we have plenty. In fact, all these while I used to tell socially acceptable, that this. Personality is a concept mostly studied and explored in the societal acceptance, societal rejections. It is evaluated and concluded based on the social acceptance or rejections. However, social acceptance is the first subheading under environmental factors. There is social acceptance, social deprivation, educational factors, family determinants, uh, emotional climate of home and ordinal position, and size of the family. So the last three factors, last three components are family related, and the first two are social, other one is education. So first one is social acceptance. So society is your basis for self evaluation. So you as an individual has two components. What are you in the society? What are you as an individual yourself? However, to know about yourself, you also need what society thinks about you. So social acceptance is very important. You can say I am this, but if the society is evaluating you in a different way, then you're wrong. No one will believe you. You need, it's like a society is like a proof for what you are. So if they accept you, then means, yeah, you are that, what you're claiming of. Otherwise, no. So social acceptance is very, very necessary. Going further, here also you have two factors to consider. One is how much importance do you give for that social acceptance, and another one is do you which social group you want to be a part of. See, two things. Let's be clear on this. Which group, a social group you want to be a part of, and how much importance you give for that social acceptance of that particular group. So if you could be a part of one group, but if you don't value their evaluations, then it's okay. So it's also there are many people with I don't care attitude, I don't care who other things, so they're also slightly put away, or we tell, okay, you stay away, we don't want you in a group. So something like that. So these are two things that individual considers while taking the the societal evaluation to conclude or judge on the personality. So which group you are part of, and how much you value how much you value the opinions of that particular group. So these are two factors that you need to consider. uh, these they have given examples like the people who are socially acceptable are more outgoing, more flexible, more active, more dear, more jovial, and they have emotional warmth, they're empathetic, and all that. So and social isolation. When we come to, okay, next topic is social deprivation. Social deprivation, uh, when we talk about social deprivation, there are two age groups that you need to talk about: the early childhood age, and the you know what is that, late adulthood, elderly people, old age. Okay, so here, so when we talk about social deprivation, social isolation concept comes into picture. Social isolation, uh, there are two ways to look at it. You isolate yourself from the society, or the society isolates you. Those are two different things. The society rejecting you or isolating you is because of their decisions, evaluations. You isolating from the society is because of your personal own choices and decisions. Okay, if parents choose to isolate the child in the childhood time, then the child is deprived of that fun, the plays, the small fights, that learning, that exposure to different kinds of players, peers, and everything. So that leaves an impact in the later stages of the personality development. In the later stage, also in the old age state, if they choose to, if old age people by themselves, any age for that matter, if they themselves choose to isolate, then it is most likely that they will be happy, because they would have known or easily attributed or decided why they want to isolate and how they want to isolate, from which group they want to isolate, and all that. So especially old age people who self isolate are more happier than people who are isolated from the society, like old age people who are very used to go to walking, temples, mosques, or functions, or get-togethers. If their children don't, because of their busy schedule or something, they don't take it, or because of the health conditions they are not able to socialize or something, they have emotional imbalance, emotional stress, emotional deprivation, which leaves a impact on their personality. So this is regarding social deprivation. Next, you have education factors. Here we talk completely about children and adolescents. So what kind of school you go, the teacher student connection, the students interest, and the students thinking of the education institutions, the kind of peers that you involve in, the teaching methods the institution involves or imbibes, incorporates to teach. All these play a huge factor in personality development. Along with this, the education at home also plays a huge role, which leads us to the next factor, family determinants. Now, when we consider family, the child training methods, the parenting styles, all these play huge, huge. They influence the personality hugely. Also, if the parents themselves are anxious, nervous, introverts, then most likely that the child will also be very scared to express something. The child will also be introvert. They will not have a say, and they're mostly kept away from the society. They end up being socially isolated and all that. So these are some family determinants, which leads us to the next factor, emotional climate of home and ordinal position. Ordinal position is which child are you? Say the number of the child, the first child, the second child, the last child, the middle child, the third child. So in your family, for your parents, which number of child are you? With the nth, the number of, okay, your turn of as a child, what is your turn as a child is the ordinal position. Here there are many researches conducted. It is mostly said that the firstborns are more independent, more responsible, more socially acceptable, more jovial, and all that kind. The middle bonds are more peer oriented. They usually spend more time with their friends than the family, because they're not given much attention. The last ones are pampered so much, so the last ones are mostly dependent. They feel they are jealous towards the first ones. They usually ask and wait for the approvals of their parents and elders and all these sides. So there are many studies conducted as to what child, the ordinal position of the child plays, indirectly or directly, it plays a role on your personality development. And emotional climate of home. Emotional climate of home is generally, if your father and mother have a good bonding, then it's more, here we get the social observation theory. The child observe the parents and learn. Okay, so if they are usually silent or usually aggressive or usually happy, or usually negligent or something like that, that emotional climate also influences the personality of the child. Going for the size of the family also. So usually if you're in a big family, you're either neglected too much, or you are cared and questioned too much for everything, because there will be some family culture in place, or most likely it happens that because you belong to a big joint family or something, your parents might be indulged in family matters and might not give much attention to you, irrespective of the ordinal position that you are. So you are most likely to feel left out, or there are two things. There might be so much emotional attachment towards the family that you don't have a social life other than the family. So when you come out for some higher education, or when you are suddenly married into a new family or something, or when you go out for a social event, you feel lost. So there are two things here. The size of the family also matters. Researchers tell that small families, say parents with one grandparents and children, say a family of 6 to 8 or max 10, 8, 6 to 10, this 8 is ideal, 6 to 8 and 10 is ideal, is what they tell. Those kind of families have better scope for good personalities in the children, because there is enough attention given from the parents, from the grandparents. The the way they let the children, it's not overprotective, over free and all that. So the size of the family, the ordinal position, the emotional climate of the family, and the parenting styles, child training styles, all these are social factors. So that leads us to the end of the chapter uh, of Unit 1. So anyway, let me see who is awake. Who is the father of behaviorism?
Next question.
Father
Pass.
of psychology.
Pass. Pass.
Ritu, you're saying something.
I was saying next question, please.
Father of psychology. Okay.
Sigmund Freud.
Experimental psychology.
Max
Next question.
something.
Karl Marx.
Nahi.
No.
Karl Marx.
Can we stop the recording because the class is done, right?
Yeah, okay, I will just sum up. I'll sum up and then you can stop the recording.
Sure, you can include those psychologist names as well.
Yeah, wait.
I can name few people, but I don't know who is father for what.
That's
Alfred,
okay.
Skinner.
That's okay. Don't break your head. We'll do that after. Definition of personality is dynamic organization within the person of psychophysical system that determine the unique adjustment to one's environment, given by Alport. Very important. Okay. So while you're defining personality, you have to consider two things: the individuality and the consistency. Going further, and the other things, aspects that you need to consider is the character and temperament are the very major factors that define a personality. However, they're not the necessary fact, they're not the only necessary factors. Going further, personality development can be analyzed in three ways: bio, psychosocial. Correct. Hey, you saw the textbook, is it, Shivali? J.B. Watson is the father of behaviorism. Good. Biopsychosocial model. In biological factors, you have five: BHP, body build, homeostasis, physical attractiveness, health conditions, physical defects. Okay, moving further to psychological, you have four: intellectual determinants, emotional determinants, self disclosure. Then you have three together: aspiration, achievement, and goal setting. Okay, that is psychological. Moving to the environmental factors, there are five here again. 1, 2, 3, 6. Sorry, 6 here again. 2 are social. Social acceptance, social deprivation. 2. Then middle one is education. The last 3 are family factors. Family
Family
determinants, ordinal
Ordinal
position,
position.
size of the family. That comes to the end of the chapter of Unit 1. We can end the recording. Theories are all not my headache for this thingy.